These are things that anyone can do. You don't have to be a multimillionaire like Brian Johnson to have these things available to make a significant difference in your life. So if someone is kind of having this experience where they're thinking, ooh, longevity, that I need to think about that for my life, and they want to start focusing on longevity, what's the first thing that you would suggest to them? Like, okay, well, this, you sit them down and say, and this is Alan Graves saying, this is how you get started. What do you say?
Well, assuming they've already read Lifespan by David Sinclair, which is probably the most pivotal book in terms of longevity, I would say, ensure that you're moving every day. Try to get into a sleep pattern and manage your relationship with stress as well. I think that's important.
Oh yeah, 3 good ones. And I noticed, I mean, I think it's important to note, and especially for our viewers. I mean, I make a lot of videos about supplements, and your company as a health organization, health research organization, you make supplements available for sale. But you didn't mention that in those things. And I think that's really cool that you're saying, hey, start with this first.
Our products can help people that aren't moving and aren't sleeping well and aren't managing their stress, but they're going to help you a hell of a lot more, and you're going to help yourself a hell of a lot more if you do those things. And for a lot of people, they might not have heard of what nicotinamide mononucleotide is. They might not know what SIRT6 activator is, and it takes a little bit of education for people to understand the benefits of these products, as powerful as they are. But I also think it's a bit wasteful if somebody isn't doing the things that are essentially free, um, to start spending money on supplements, because ensuring you're moving every day, everyone's heard of exercise, everyone knows it's good for them, but are you actually doing it? And you don't need to be going to the gym and doing 3 hours every day, but bare minimum would be 20 minutes of exercise. Move your body. We're doing this interview now. We're sat down. Human body isn't really designed to sit for any period of time, really. We were designed to either lie down and sleep, or rest, or be stood up, walking around and jogging around. So, yeah, I think getting up, standing up, moving around is very important. Sleep pattern, obviously, since the invention of artificial light, people have been struggling to sleep. And we used to sleep with the sun coming up and down, and then managing your relationship with stress. Stress is not a bad thing. When you exercise, you are stressing your body, but there's a certain degree of it. And I think most people understand when they get, muscle soreness, for example, from exercise, they understand that's a necessary stress. Whereas, the stress from your job or the stress from having difficulty in your relationships can be often viewed in a different light. And it's not about reducing stress to zero. It's about managing stress and your relationship with stress. Um, so, for example, I have a lot of stress running a huge global health research organization, but then I say to myself, well, you can't expect to change the world and solve aging and for it to not be difficult. So I've managed my relationship with that stress. I understand why it's there, and I don't let it, or try not to let it affect my health too much.
Yeah, that's very, very, very good insight. Um, Refreshing too, because these are things that anyone can do. You don't have to be a multimillionaire like Brian Johnson to have these things available to make a significant difference in your life. And I think we've covered this. You've mentioned this. I was going to ask you, what are the most important things a person could do to include in their longevity routine? I think we've just covered that.
Okay.
So to move your body, make sure you're on a good sleep schedule, getting adequate and helpful restorative sleep, and then managing your relationship with stress, to a point where it builds rather than, or it's helpful rather than it being destructive. Uh,
Yeah.
if you could only do one of these things, if you could had to pick one, that's unrealistic. But if you had to pick one, what would it be?
I guess it depends on the audience for that. I mean, I would imagine for your audience, the answer is probably going to be around enhancing their supplement intake, because somebody that's loyal to a health-based channel, I would imagine, is already, exercising and moving their body and sleeping well. But I think the answer for the population as a whole would be exercise. I think people being too sedentary is very dangerous, and it's very, very common.